Well, hello there. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, everybody, depending on where you are. Beals Down, thanks very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Cheers. Today joining me is my cat, once again on living room cam, although it does seem like once again, now that she has heard me begin streaming, she may consider coming over here to sit on my lap instead. I've moved her cat tree to be in the middle of my living room because she never really used it on the edge of the living room. She would use the scratching posts at the bottom of it, but she wouldn't ever sit on any of the platforms, so I've moved it because novelty is the spice of cat life, and I figured this way we might also get an angle on it. If she decides to sit up top, she may be right now trying to decide whether or not she wants to come over here, although if she indeed does, that would be curious because while I have just started streaming now, for the past couple of minutes, I uncharacteristically did some speech warm-ups just because I was ready a few minutes early, and I was like, why not? Let's crank out some test sentences. And she didn't get up for those. She was flat napping for those. So this would indicate that not only can she tell when I'm streaming, but she can tell the difference between streaming speech and, you know, speech warm-up speech. Hey there, Hazel. Is it weird there's something ultra wholesome about watching a gnome walk through Elwyn Forest summoning different pets? It's nice that nothing bad happens to her. You know, if this was a TV show and the opening scene of the pilot episode was a, you know, innocent-looking young woman just walking down the road with a bunny rabbit, she's probably getting attacked by a mysterious bear or something like that. That rarely goes well, but, you know, in this show, you know, it does. Kitty, if you're coming up here, I gotta move your camera or it's just gonna be like, why is your couch on camera the whole stream? And you know what? They'll have a point. Okay, alright. I knew it. I knew it. You are a creature of habit, cat. You're very predictable. Super Met, thank you very, very much for the 11-month resub. Got to hold back on the sub message this month. Crowd moving mini speech for the 1-year mark needs more writing time. Aw, shucks. Thanks, man. Also, Maddie Moves with a 5-month resub. Happy Wednesday, everyone. And Haswin with a 7-month resub. Love always, Hazel. Thank you. Yeah, they're cute. They're very cute. I'm lucky they're cute because I feel like it takes a little pressure off me because I don't got to do so much. Today, I wanted to work a little bit on doing some of the busy work of setting up this character. She's a fresh level 60, and I've been trying to... Excuse you. You have something to say? I've been making some notes about how I'm gearing her up and the various things to do so I can try to wrangle them into a recommended order, although, honestly, you can just kind of do stuff and you'll eventually get to where you're going. I've been working on that for a video. That'll take a while because it's a big one, but in the meantime, some of the stuff that I have to do is just kind of grindy, and I don't need to record all of it, which means I can get some of it done on stream. One of the recommended steps for setting up a new character is to check for, special events and stuff that could offer loot. So as an example, right now, the Love Festival event, the world boss, or the holiday boss for that you can kill once per day, has a chance to give you a neck piece, and the neck pieces are 158, which doesn't last you all that long. I think I'm already in a 161 just from the early Covenant quest, but still. And another good example is that time walking is currently the weekly event. There's lots of different weekly events, but sometimes the weekly event will offer gear. Time walking is one of these times. If you complete 5 time walking dungeons this week, it is MOP time walking, so Miss of Pandaria dungeons, which are pretty good as they go. Doing 5 of these will get you an item level 200 piece, and the nice thing about this is there's no minimum item level for it. You can do this as soon as you're level 60. You might even be able to start it earlier. You can certainly do time walking earlier than that. I don't know when you're able to pick up this quest, but now that I'm 60, if I complete 5, then I will get a 200 piece, and that'll be pretty significant because I'm sitting at 151. And also, Superman was saying in chat earlier that the standard item level for loot dropping from the time walking at level 60 should be 158, which would put it, if true, puts it on par with normal dungeon gear, which is also something that I need because I'm wearing like lots of 130s. I have a handful of 150s, but I have other 130s. And once you get yourself to 155, you can get into heroic dungeons. I'm trying to do it without getting carried too much. I'm trying to do it without getting just like massively carried because I want to make an example that can be followed even if you don't have people that are available to carry you. Zalo had a 12-month resub. Happy 1 year. A year already. You're the best. Aw, shucks. Thank you. Equinox with a 5-month resub. So nice to catch a stream. Hope you're feeling okay. And looking after yourself. Thank you. I'm doing all right. Scoots with a 14-month resub. Happy Panda time walking. And you guys got the hype train going. You're so sweet. Hazel, I have a time lost Protodrake. I have it up on Horde side. I can try. I will try. I will try. I will log on to a Horde character. I will find one who has a name that is easy to spell. The realm will be Hyjal. The name will be Hazel, with just spelled normally, but with one E on the end. Lost Lights Inc., thank you for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. I imagine I won't make it, but that's no reason not to try. So if I wanted to get there, I would need to get to Northrend Dalaran. There should be a Northrend Dalaran port from Orgrimmar, and I should be able to get to Orgrimmar. I'm already in Dalaran, so that's a good start. So I can go, let me see. Actually, am I in, no, I'm in the wrong Dalaran. I'm in Legion Dalaran. I need to get to Northrend Dalaran. So we're going to go Org. And then, I don't remember how this works, mind you. Let me see. So we've got Asuna. Oh, there's another level. Dalaran Crystal Slime Forest. That's the one I'm looking for. Can confirm 158. I have witnesses. All right. That's good. I need that. I need that stuff. War mode is off. War mode is off. War mode talents. War mode off. Good. Okay. I'm going up. I'm flying north. My gamepad is out of my reach. And I am actually not too far. So, do I tag it? Do we wait? Is it a big group thing? You can do it. Depends on if it's still up when I get there. It's in Chromie time, so he's going to put up a fight. Okay. Will I be able to access... Oh, I'm in level 50. Okay. Just kill him when you hear all for you. Okay. I'm level 50. We're party syncing. I just want to make sure I wasn't supposed to grab a level 60, because I do have those. Oh, no, I don't have one in Horde, actually. I do not have a level 60 in Horde, so it better be doable at 50, otherwise I am out of luck. Don't tag heal. Don't tag heal. I don't know what that means. I am in healer spec, which could be a problem. Oh, don't tag it as heals? Let's see. I will catch up on chat again shortly. I don't want to... So it's 68k. Do I have time to switch specs? Should I do that? All right, well, I've tagged it, and then I'm gonna be, I'm a resto druid, but it's okay. Twins doing the damage, big deeps. Is it just that easy? Wow. Oh, that's going to upset some people. I would like to issue a formal apology to anybody that's been camping for a really long time. Wow. I can't believe it. Oh, my face is really warm. I didn't know how much I wanted it, which you would have never guessed by how little I've tried for it. But I've been camping that on and off, not much lately, but for like, what, 12 years? This is raw streamer privilege. I will not deny that. I got a new mount. I got the mount. I can't believe I have Steel PD. Thank you so much. Lost Lights, thanks for the brand new sub. Don't know, people are complaining about easy mount. People have been telling me that, about like secret finding Discord and about like listed groups and about people like tag sharing and raids and whatnot. And I've heard that it's not as tough to get anymore, but it's whenever I've tried, it's been tough still. Yeah. You just get mount chromie time. Yeah, I wonder if that makes a huge difference. I still think it's crazy lucky. I don't know. I'm party synced down to somebody that had the spawn up. Big Fire, thanks for the 20-month resub. Wow. Good wow. Good wow. Game is still making it the 473-minute attempt for you. I mean, this was purely Twin. What was their Twitch name? There's a lot of chat between now and then. Hef for grabbing me on that. Thanks so much. I'm going to ride that around everywhere, even on land. I'm just gonna trot around like this in dungeons. It's gonna be great. I am gonna do some time walking. Guess you haven't lost any time getting this one. Wow, I can feel like a check mark on the cosmic list. Enjoy the mount. Thank you so much. Do I have every proto-drake? I have most proto-drakes. I must be missing some. I don't have, there's like a really fancy achievement. Well, I don't have any ones that are no longer available. So any like limited availability protos I wouldn't have. Has to be YouTube pilot. And as it happens, I needed one of those because the video I'm working on right now will not be ready until like next week at the earliest. So if I want anything on YouTube, I was gonna need something, and I feel like that'll do. Nixarian giving Hef a gift sub. Cheers. Oh, well deserved. Plagued or black? Yeah, I don't think I have plagued or black. So proto drakes. Oh wow, I'm missing all kinds of them. So I have blue from Scotty. I have green from the egg. I believe I farmed the eggs for like a year, and then it randomly dropped for me from a cataclysm called Arm Stash. I think is how that one worked. Johnny Soros, thanks for the bits. Alswani with a 7-month resub. What's the next mount then? I've been kind of half-heartedly working on Rust Feather, but I'm not getting very many attempts per week, so that one could be a while. But the rusty wheel from Rust Feather. I do have Ironbound. We did Glory the Old War Raider. We did Glory the Hero, where I did that apparently 2014, so a while ago. I have Rusted Proto Drake. I have Violet. I've had that since 2013. I just got TLPD today. So yeah, that's Legacy, and then these are Glad mounts. Plagued is Legacy. I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that just means no longer available, so it's not surprising that I don't have it. So the only ones that I'm missing. So I have now, aside from the Orgrimmar Raider, which I don't know if we're calling that a Proto-Drake, I have all of the available Proto-Drakes. Wow. I remember when you started on Twitch, I had to scroll down to my following list to find your stream. Now you shoot to the top. Congrats. Wish you continued success. Aw, shucks. I can't take credit for anything. All I've been doing is showing up. I'm very, very happy it's working, though. Okay, so I'm going to do some time walking. I wanted to see if this thing. So I was thinking about being really selfish, and instead of taking stream viewers, just kind of call to armsing for the extra. You know what? It's not even about the badges. It's about, well, actually, if it's just for the badges, yeah, it is just for badges. Never mind. I was gonna say I'll do stream groups. So I'm gonna go dungeons, start a group. No, we'll put it in custom. I'm gonna put this in custom. I'm healing. I'm just gonna take anybody that wants to go, and then as people drop, I will replace them. For this, you need to be level 50 or higher for mop time walking, looks like. So we're gonna start a group. Hazel's time walking. I am healing. I'm healing, so levels 50 plus, and just as many as we can, as many as we can crank out for the weekly. Curry, thank you for the 13-month resub. Plagued is black market auction is only, okay. Hazel, do you think we'll see Legion time walking in 9.1? I think we will. It would be awkward for us to get Legion time walking before you can comfortably farm Legion content on your own, but I would be not against it if we could, if they would just, sneak in a little Legion tuning as well. Awkward. I did Threads of Fate. I finished all the storylines, only got to 58. I would do some dungeons or world quests, right? Because if you're in Threads of Fate, world quests are going to continue spawning, so clearing the world quests every day should help. Doing dungeons is another option. You can also do, some gathering. Gathering will give you some experience. I did a lot of my 50 to 60. I didn't do very many side quests at all, but I did some bonus objectives, and I did a good number of dungeons, and then I also did, whatchamacallit, world quests. World quests are really good, and they'll keep spawning. So many souls. Oh, 20 souls. Yeah, I was tweeting about that yesterday. It's just, when you go to go get them, it takes you a while. I went to, for the renown of my priest, I went yesterday to go get souls, and they wanted 20. And it took me ages, and I got back to my hall, and I'm thinking, I think I'm just going to queue up, and then we'll get a random tank. I got back to my hall, and I now have 88 souls, 88 redeemed souls on my main, and like 7k anima. So, you know, once I, like, I guess I could upgrade a thing and spend some souls on that, but I'm getting dangerously close to the cap, and it's my fault for not doing world quests, but what if I didn't want to? Like this character, she's like a fresh character, and she can just go get her renown for doing 5 souls. Doesn't that seem better? Oh, man. You can't do Covenant campaign with Threads of Fate, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. That would help double up. Oh. That would help double up progress, but, sorry, I just got distracted. My guild is not raiding tonight, apparently. We have a new GMOTD. Guild message today, no raid today. I wonder if that's weather related. I wonder if we have people that have been knocked offline. Tentatively raiding tomorrow. Interesting. Okay. Wow, my night just freed up. Hear me out. Exchange souls for anima. 100 per. That doesn't make us the baddies. Yeah, just like cash them in real quick. Yeah, I would be very much on board. Oh, there we go. So I am Dis, and this is fine. These are the buttons that I need. It'll be all right. Yeah, I'm gonna need to do the entire Venthyr campaign, and that's gonna take me a while, and I may work on that on stream as well. Do I want these? Are these gonna do me any good? No, not really. I mean, I guess I'll pick them up just because, just to have them. All right, I have buffed everybody. I never transmog my cloak, so it's fine, but I am disciplined, so I'm really here to just throw out shields and do damage in no particular order. Don't hate too much on my, don't mind me and my lack of optimization. One thing at a time. Upgrades to Soul Keeper will hit Soul Max within a few weeks. Yeah, I'm on track to hit capped next week. Like right now, I'm 88 of 100, and they're capped at 100. And I just found that out yesterday. Like when I tweeted about the 20 being a lot, I noticed somebody had mentioned that they do cap, and I went back and looked at my UI, and yeah, they cap at 100. Why? Why do they cap at 100? What are they trying to avoid us being able to do? Like, I mean, I guess it's not important for me to stash more than 100. But, like, if I'm going to be collecting them for renown anyways, then it feels bad to just burn them. But I don't necessarily have I've been not really upgrading my Sanctum buildings because I'm not... I guess I just upgrade them without any intention of using them. And I am starting to get more anima now. The addition of extra anima from dungeons and raid, or particularly Mythic Plus and raid, that's been helpful. That's been getting me quite a fair amount. I think most of my anima on my main is from raid clear last week, and then like a couple of keys that we did. But I don't know. I've been like specifically not upgrading my Path of Ascension because I kind of don't want to upgrade it because I haven't beaten all the encounters in the baseline Path of Ascension, and I don't feel ready yet. So it feels silly to spend anima to unlock more content for a system I haven't finished the existing content of. I think I'm probably going to save up 10k anima and then get my anima conductor to rank 3 because I've been at least engaging with the anima conductor a little bit. Although honestly, I guess I should look up to see what you get from rank 3 anyways, because it might not be anything that I want. I already have the Phalanx of Humility, and I've already bought the Ruffle Pet. I've already bought the Ruffle Pet for Grateful Offerings. The only other thing that you need Grateful Offerings for is Transmog, which also costs just metric truckloads of anima. So, like, I don't know. I'll camp this week, which is why I haven't done it yet. Yeah, the alternative, which is what I'm strongly considering now, is to... The alternative is you just stay one renown behind. If you don't mind staying one renown behind, then you just don't rescue the souls. And then you'll be one renown behind, which means every week you're gonna get one catch-up renown from like a dungeon or a raid boss or like whatever. And then you just don't have to go get the souls. Mind you, you won't be getting more souls, but if you're already capped and you're going to burn them anyways, then it is probably faster to get one catch-up renown than it is to go rescue 20 souls. And our soul keepers are not even finished upgrading. They have farther yet to go. So that's kind of what I'm thinking anyways. Load Fix, thank you for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. I have 103 of 100. Oh, interesting. I'm just gonna stand in this. This is my plan. Struggling for anima because they don't dungeon or raid. I wish they'd take solo, not raiders into account. I would be so happy if they would just hot fix in like 3 hundo anima from a calling. Who would that hurt? You know? Callings right now are in this really weird place where if you have like your conduits, and they were only ever an okay source of conduits, they're a source of gold and they're a good source of rep, but like once you got your rep stuff, and rep was already kind of optional anyways, you're like, well, why though? And, you know, that would be pretty nice. Dungeon loot bus been great, getting tons of upgrades from raid last night. We haven't, I'm dying to find out, but apparently I'm not going to find out tonight. Although I don't necessarily need it, but I really want to see if our perennially weaponless hunter in our raid can get a Denathrius weapon, because they really, really, really want one. Also deserve one, and have really put in the work at this point, and it would be really nice if Denathrius could just like spit out one. At least they make the soul spawn faster. Sat between 2 spawn points. Yeah, I was doing a little bit of that as well. And it's nice that, like, I was having, you know, you would come across one that had already been freed, and then you would collect that one, and then the soul prison was already spawning behind it, so then you can kill that and take another one. It didn't take me crazy long. It probably took me about 15 minutes, but I think a lot of my complaints about Shadowlands content come from being not invested enough in the other content. If I was already going to the mod to do mod dailies or mod weeklies, and I was already feeling pretty good about that, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to collect some extra souls. But they have failed to sell me on mod dailies, and they have failed to sell me on mod weeklies, which means that the souls are the only reason I'm going to the mod in the first place. And even with a mount, it's kind of a hard sell to have me go run around there just for that, especially when they're capping, because I don't have enough anima to spend them. So it's they've got a lot of systems, they've got lots of stuff to do, but they're it's which things you feel incentivized to do are going to depend on what kind of rewards you value. And well, I'm somebody that likes a lot of stuff. I guess I'm just not getting through all of it all at once. Okay. Callings are basically my consumable budget at this point. I do really like the gold that comes from them. I am very satisfied by that. A lot of my gold has come from just raw gold from Callings, because it's so consistent and it doesn't take that long. And often what I'll do is I'll just log on to an alt that hasn't done them in a while, or I'll log on to my main that hasn't done them in a while, and I'll just bang out 3 of them. And then you're looking at like, what, 9, 10K just for that? Although yesterday I got my second Paragon cache for Ascended. I'm a Kyrian main of my main priest, so I've been getting a lot of Ascended rep. Opened my second Ascended Paragon cache. As a reminder, my first one contained the Larian Cub pet and a toy. And then my second cache contained the Larian Cub pet again. So I caged it, and I looked in the auction house, and there's a bunch of them up, and they were like 35K, and I'm thinking, if I am 2 for 2, and there's like 5 or 6 of them on the auction house, betcha it's not that rare. It's very cute, but I betcha it's not that rare. And I betcha this price tanks. Because if you remember what it was like at the like even like a couple of months into BFA, the pet that dropped from like the Drustvar cache, the pet that dropped from I think there was also one from the Storm's Wake cache, they were selling for pennies. I was deleting them at the end of the expansion because they were so common that, you know, once everybody has one that wants one, nobody is paying for them anymore. So I figured this is my golden opportunity to sell this thing and make some gold off of it, but not for 30K because I don't want to sit on it until the price has already fallen. So I posted it for 20K, which, you know, compared to 30K, that's a pretty good deal. And then it sold, and I'm feeling pretty slick about that. Maybe the price will go up and I will feel silly, but I will probably not notice because that sounds out of my frame of things that I check on a day-to-day basis. Successfully timed to +10 for the first time ever. I'm so happy. Congrats. That's awesome. That's not an easy thing to do. Those are some tough dungeons. That's wonderful. Do Night Fae Undying Callings on alts for Paragon cash mounts. Just Undying now. Got the Night Fae one. Nice. I do feel, anecdotally, no statistical data behind this statement, it feels like the Paragon cash drops are a little more common than they have been, just based on the amount of stuff that I've gotten out of the ones I've opened so far and what I've seen from other people. It seems like it doesn't feel like it's going to be a Legion-style grind to get the Paragon cash mounts, I don't think, but again, anecdotal evidence. Excited to get Path of Ascension Tier 5 next week. I need 15K anima. I got 5K. The World Quest grind starts now. Oh, man. How are you finding those fights? I've been procrastinating because I'm scared. Nina, thank you for the 8-month resub. Hi, Hazel. How are you? I'm doing pretty good, thank you. I've had a nice day. I've got a cat on my lap. Oh, I've been having a nice time setting up my new character. I'm in a nice, easy work day where I'm doing a bunch of alt farming, but like for work, because you know I'm gonna make the video, etc., etc., etc. So I spent my whole morning pretty much doing, you know, like Covenant quests and early campaign quests and a little bit of Torghast. Interestingly, or at least it was interesting to me. So right now, in Torghast, yeah, on alts, you get there, and assuming that you cleared up to layer 8 on your main, you can start at layer 8 if you want in your alt. It was not always like this, but at some point they hotfixed it so that the high, like once you have cleared a layer on your main, it is available to you on your alt. So if I wanted to, on this character, I could have walked into a layer 8 of regular Torghast. Mind you, I'm item level 150, so I didn't think that was a brilliant idea. But I wasn't really sure, there is no great indicator of like, well, where should I start? Because I'm pretty sure I can do more than just one. And there's no really great rubric of, well, at this item level, as this class, you should be able to solo approximately this, so I just kind of had to wing it. So what I did is I queued in on a 4. I queued in on a 4 solo at item level 150. And that was actually not bad. It was not hard. I think I probably could have done a 5 or even maybe a 6. I think I might try 6 of the other side, like the other wing, just to see how it feels. Mind you, I did spec Holy because that is the class and spec that I have the most experience on in Torghast, so I feel very comfortable with the builds and the choices, and I think those are my best odds of getting a good solo done. But I was surprised. I've always said that, or I've repeated something I heard other people say, which is that Torghast is not so much about your item level as it is about the powers, because a lot of your power in Torghast comes from what you loot inside. So your item level is not as crucial as it is for some other forms of gameplay. But I figured a lot of them scale, right? Like a lot of them scale off of your base item level or off of your base stats. If you're getting 10% more stam and you had like 4 health points, then you're going to have, you know, 40.04 health points or whatever. That's not the right math, but you know what I mean. So I figured that having a higher base item level is probably important to do 8s. I don't know. I'm probably gonna try the 6 and see. I did get like 400 something. What am I sitting at? I have 575 soul ash, and I got 200 from. I don't know why I say it like that. It's kind of upsetting. I got 200 from. Whatchamacallit. Oh, that's nice and fast. The Boulevard quest. Okay, so those gloves are 8 item levels up, which is nice. And I'm gonna queue up again. Any tips for Fright and Kodo? No, I haven't done that grind yet. I haven't done it yet. So I don't have anything that's new. The Wowhead page probably knows more than I do. Soloed 8 is a 160 Holy Paladin. I did a 6 with my 160 on a Shadow Priest, though. Well, I'm like 152. Maybe I'll just try an 8. Maybe I'll just, like, go for it and just try the 8, you know? Holy Priest is quite safe. It might be slow, I think is the thing, is it might be just, like, brutally slow for a while until you get, like, the powers that you need to do damage. Because it was taking me a little while. Well, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, maybe I can do an 8. You guys are making me believe in myself. I want to put Time Lost on my bar. I want to keybind that. Ride that bad boy around. Go at midnight when I got mine at Darkshore Beach. Do you have Time Reaver? Yeah, I do. I got that during the 10th anniversary event. Or pardon me, the 15th anniversary event with the Deathwing Time Walking raid. It just dropped for me out of like the cache, I guess, the box, I think. Create a trial character in a low pop realm, log in after reset to get it fairly quickly. Okay. Infinite time waster. Yeah, I don't know if I can, in good conscience, recommend, I don't know if I can recommend grinding for Time Reaver. I suppose if it's the one thing that you want more than anything else in the world, then, you know, don't let me stop you. But the odds of you getting it from an individual dungeon are quite low. But if you just continue to do time walking often and over time, you know, I guess it just feels a little better. I should turn in these quests. I should run right through here and then go turn in my quest. My Girl Scout cookie order just arrived. The new s'mores cookies are good. There you go. I haven't had those for a long time. I did see Aya tweeting about Thin Mints though, so maybe it's like a seasonal thing. Yeah, I'm gonna turn in this just cause, you know, get a little extra gold and an extra 5 gold out of that. Oh man. 850 attempts on Time Reaver. The only one who shifted from riding only my favorite rarest mounts to riding mounts that only fit my transmog. I'm still in my routine of I will ride a new mount. So when I get one, I will keybind it to my regular mount keybind and then just only use that exclusively. Can I not mount out here? It's a courtyard. Look, it's outdoors. I will use that exclusively until either like a week or two goes by or until I get my next one, whichever happens first. This account's still so new. I have no mounts to match everything. What's your go-to? What do you got so far? I can't wait until I can soul shape into a corgi. I can't believe that's a real thing. I know it's a real thing. I still can't quite believe it's a real thing. Katie, how are you doing? What's up with you today? It smells kind of like cinnamon in here because I had a little bit of fungus going on in the roots, fungus or mold or I don't know, something living going on in the soil of my Monstera, which I hold that I don't overwater it. I wait until it's real thirsty to water it, but I do water it thoroughly when I do, and also the soil was the cheapest available stuff, which probably didn't help matters, so it was starting to grow some fluff. And I did a cursory Google and found out that some people sprinkle cinnamon to help, and I was like, I have cinnamon. This cost me nothing to try, and it'll smell good. So I watered it again today because it was thirsty, but then I whacked some cinnamon on top of it, and now it kind of vaguely, slightly smells like cookies in here, although I would not go eating that dirt. Okay. Last one went nice and fast. We got some good DPS in the group. We got some ballin' DPS. Used up all my luck this year. I got Time Reaver January 1st and the big love rocket today. Congratulations. That may be a year's quota of luck, which doesn't preclude you from having more good luck, but gosh darn, that's real something. That's amazing. There's fungus among us. Small amounts of peroxide really helped me before. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be bothering the plant at all. It just looks kind of funky if you really inspect down there, so I figured I would do very light measures for now, and then maybe more drastic measures if it becomes a problem, like if I notice any distress in the plant. The thing's huge, and it seems to care for nothing. I wanted to record... Have you ever seen houseplant time-lapse videos? You know, you don't think of plants as being animals, because they're not. But they move over time. You know, everybody knows, or many people that have had plants know that if you have a plant in front of a directional light source, it'll move its leaves to try to go towards the light source. And that's pretty cool all by itself. But they also, you know, some of them will have daily rhythms where they'll move, and then some of them, plants, especially vining plants, will do this kind of wiggling motion to attempt to find things to latch onto. And you can't see it with your naked eye unless you're very bored and you look for a very long time. But over time, with the time-lapse video, you can see them doing their oogly boogly dance, and that idea is very entertaining to me. Plus, I have cameras and nothing better to do. Well, arguably. I want to do that. I tried setting one up, and it was also kind of just a proof of concept thing for me to try filming a time-lapse, because I've always enjoyed watching them and I wanted to incorporate them, I don't know, next time it makes sense, which is probably never because I don't do a lot of live action videos, but I wanted to add one in next time I felt like I had a good opportunity for it, so I figured I should try filming one that was not consequential, where I like had not, you know, backpacked through Taiwan and climbed a mountain or anything like that. And I discovered after my first attempt that I need to connect the camera to power. I knew that this was going to come to this, but I figured, you know, it's only a couple hours. It's got a screen dimming. I guess I kind of assumed that the time-lapse software, I went with an application on camera instead of a hardware intervalometer. I figured the software would, like, sleep the camera in between shots or something. It does not. It dims the screen a little bit, and that's about the end of it. So, do I want to, like, run these into him, I think? He's going bananas? And so what happened is it ran for like half the time. I recorded about an hour and a half's worth of photos. And then I was like, oh man, this battery's about to die. And it was like pretty close to my computer. So I was like, well, maybe I can connect USB power, because it was a pretty small camera. It's the RX 100. I figured I could maybe just like connect the USB cable, but I shouldn't have even tried, because all I did was I bumped it. I didn't even manage to connect the cable successfully. And now my tiny incomplete clip has a little bump in it where, like, I moved the camera because I shouldn't have touched it, and I touched it. Also, it's surprisingly loud. It didn't occur to me that it would make, like, a big click sound every time it takes a photo, every, like, 30 seconds or whatever. Although I didn't mind that so much. I want to try it again, but I need to hook it up to power if I wanted to finish, and I need to do it someplace that I'm not going to, like, trip over it, because I had it set up, like, right here, and I would, like, it would move even just with me walking by my desk. So I want to try again to film my plants over time so I can find out how they wiggle. Marcelian with a host. Welcome, guys. Cheers. Thank you very, very much. These are the folks that had me on their YouTube podcast, available on their YouTube channel, Marcelian Online. Hey, Hazel Set. Love your YouTube videos. Thought I would check out your streams. Welcome. I hope that it's living up to expectations, if indeed you had any. Paul's Rare Spirit with a 3-month resub. Thank you very, very much. You needed a tank to ask me? Oh, I'm sorry. I did list for one for a little bit, but I didn't wait terribly long, and then after the second one, I just kind of requeued. Te'ero Hanui, thank you for the 2-month resub. Thanks. Appreciate it very, very much. Really want the Venthyr bat mount. Venthyr gets some of the best mounts. Even the Gargans are kind of growing on me. I've noticed that often in the community, mobs that don't have a super clear real life analogy will get nicknames, right? And I find it amuses me that Gargans, such as on the Houndmaster fight, are sometimes, depending on who you're talking to, some people call them dogs and some people call them bears. Obviously they're neither, but you can make a pretty clear argument for both. And I just wanted to know, you guys team dog or team bear? I think I'm team dog, just because of the Houndmaster. You know, I've never heard a bear referred to as a hound. So in my mind, I think of them as just like really buff mastiffs. But I do get that they have more of a bear overall shape to them. Ninleys, thank you for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Stream's going well. Off to bed. See you later. LGBTQ plus friendly stream, of course. Bear dogs, doggies, precious, team bear, team precious, growly, bitey boy. He's Huntsmaster. He's a Houndmaster. Huntsman is a Houndmaster. Well, somebody says release the hounds. Somebody says hounds in there at some point, unless I've just absolutely invented that in my head. And I'd believe it. If you told me that I made that up, you could probably talk me into that. I've made up more outlandish things by accident. Shaved bears look weirdly similar to gargans. Well, now I need to know what a shaved bear looks like. This dungeon's pretty easy. I've got time. Shaved bear. Oh, that's not very nice. I mean, I guess maybe if he was really itchy and it's for his own good and he's going to grow it back, but I have a feeling that that's not why they shaved him. This one is probably because he was itchy, and he had to get something fixed. I'm not going to show these on stream, but that's a strange Google. Oh. That'll send you down a weird rabbit hole of animals that have been shaved that should not be shaved. I save bears. I'm glad you say of course, but you never know. I'm just glad everybody's having a good time when we're meeting expectations if there were any. I'm trying to, in general in my life lately, just lower my expectations around the board because I wasn't meeting the ones I had anyways. So as much as it may pain me to settle for less from myself, it's better than asking for a lot of myself and then just having to confront failure every day. I've written myself up a schedule for the 1,001st time, which I don't really have any good reason to believe that it'll work any better than the last 999 plus another 1 times, the last 1,000 times I've tried this. But, if I stop trying, then that's sad, so I may as well give it another go. And I've written it, real easy, because I figure if most times I have a schedule that's, a little ambitious, and then I don't make it, also, I've been not paying enough attention, then and I don't get anything done because I got overwhelmed, then that's a net loss anyway. So if I make myself a schedule that's, pretty lazy and involves only, a couple hours of work, then maybe that's more achievable, and maybe we start with that. I want to see if I can do it in the first place, because there's a chance that I can't. Are we gonna line of sight them? I mean, I guess he did have a, that was actually kind of rude of me. It didn't occur to me he was a Death Knight. I just watched him do the thing where he, gripped them all, but it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm just gonna tab out of chat just in case I'm scared. Call them puppers in our raid. I love how we have that reaction to shaved animals as if we aren't essentially that to them. Do you think my cat thinks that I shaved my whole self? Kitty, do you think I'm weirdly unhairy? Do you wonder where all my fur went? I do wear a lot of clothes. Expect yourself to play WoW every day, bam, you win. I wanted to play WoW last night. I had the saddest. It wasn't even sad as in really tragic. It was just sad as in really, this is the best thing you can think of. So last night, yesterday I was doing good. I finished what I wanted to get done for the day. I made some dinner, which turned out pretty good. And then I cleaned up, did dishes. And by the time I was done with dinner and dishes and everything, it was 8 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, I have at least 2 hours, but probably more. I don't have to go to bed at 10. I have a couple hours, and I have nothing in particular on my plate. What am I gonna do? And then I was like, well, maybe I could do some dungeons, but then nobody was really on. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe this is finally the day to do some PvP and do a little After Dark stream. It's gonna go terribly and I'm gonna suffer, but maybe I'm in a good mood right now. So maybe that's the leeway that I need to do some suffering. So I go sit down on my computer, and then I log in, and it's server restart. And I'm like, oh no. So I wait another 20 minutes or so, and the servers just don't come back. They're just down for an hour. There was a maintenance last night for NA servers, or at least for mine. They took them down for at least an hour, and then by then it was just kind of late. So I gave up on that, and I was like, well, now what? So I was just sort of sitting at my desk, looking at my desktop, just a completely clean desk, empty desktop, being I don't know. So I booted up. I was kind of staring at my Steam library, and I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to play some Dark Souls. So I dug my controller. I have a wired Xbox controller. I dug that out of the cupboard, and 158. Very good, very good. If the tank wants to queue again, okay. I dug that out of the cupboard, plugged it in. I discovered that I do not have any cloud save data. I probably was going to start over anyways, but I definitely had to start over because I didn't have any save file at all for for Dark Souls 3 is the one that I wanted to do, because that's the one that I've never finished. I've played Dark Souls 1 at least twice, and I've played Dark Souls 2 a few too many times, but I've never finished Dark Souls 3. I'm very good at the first half of it. I've played the first half like 4 or 5 times, and now I'm playing them for a 6th time. So I made some brownies, and then I played some Dark Souls, was how I ended up spending my night. And even that only took me like an hour and a half. The brownies were like I had a box mix already in my cupboard, and I was like, you know what? I'll do this. I have ice cream. I can make some brownies. That might be nice. And then I played like an hour of Dark Souls, and that was about as much as I had in me. It went fine. I killed the crystal lizard on my first try, and I killed an index gundeer on my first try. Gundeer? I don't remember. First boss boy on my first try. I had forgotten the controls, and I kept fat fingering my Estus flask while I was trying to, all I wanted to do was loot, and I kept trying to loot and drinking my Estus instead, and that was a real problem early on, but I think I've almost remembered how it works. Servers were wonky last night? Yeah, I just kind of gave up on WoW. It won't let us, that feast requires level 48, that's funny. Brownies or brownies. I didn't put weed in them, if that's what you mean. I don't know how to do that. I'm not against the concept, but it's very much out of my area of expertise. Intimidated to start playing WoW right now. Do you think it's worth it? If you want to, there is lots to do, and it is not too bad to get started. There is content for everybody. There's content for somebody who's brand new. There's content for somebody that wants to do an awful lot. Stuff in between. You will have plenty to keep you busy just getting started. And I think it's a good time to start. Does WoW have controller support? Would like to try gathering using controller. Somebody will have to weigh in on whether, like, what it's like, because I remember news about them for some patch recently, or maybe for Shadowlands launch, patching in controller support, but it was more about accessibility, and it was more about accessibility controllers for people with limited range of motion. But I think that it technically could have worked for like a regular one. I don't know, somebody must have set it up. People play WoW with like DDR pads. There must be a way. Do you think Night Elves will plant a new world tree? I don't know, do they need one? Is it important for anything, or was it just kind of like a sentimental thing? Either way, maybe? Seems like a good idea. Seems like a nice day out. Make a new holiday of it. Have a picnic. Bring your family. Plant a new tree. Mint ice cream with warm brownies, my favorite dessert. The brownie box was like, make sure that you let it cool down before you slice it. And I was like, don't tell me how to live my life. I'm slicing it now. And worth it was pretty good. I even managed to not completely butcher it while slicing it while warm. Partly, I've recently sharpened my knife again. I'm waging a never-ending war against my cheap knife to try to keep it sharp. It's because on one hand, it's a cheap knife, like a $10 knife, and it's 5-6 years old. There's not a whole lot of it left. It's getting skinnier every time I sharpen it. And it's also, I'm not very careful with it, and I chop tough stuff. I chop up tough stuff, I'm making a soup, I'm hacking up a butternut squash. I'm mincing ginger. I am peeling, I'm slicing up like tough roots and stuff. So it doesn't stay sharp. But then you sharpen it again, and then like that first day or two, the first couple of uses after it's been sharpened, and theoretically longer. I do have a honing rod. I do use it, but it doesn't hold the edge very well. But when it's like when you've just done it and then you slice up some stuff and you're like, oh, I don't have to push that hard. It's really nice. Des did a 15 key using only a controller. Oh, that's wonderful, and also now makes me feel kind of bad about not being it. Like I can barely do 15s with my gamepad and my mouse with all however many keys this is. A lot. Peeling coconut. That is something I have not done. I have yet to have that experience that I've heard that many people have in their lives, where they see a whole coconut in the grocery store and they're like, you know what, I like coconut, and they just buy like a whole coconut, and then they get it home and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. I feel like I've seen that moment. I don't know where I've seen that moment. It's not interesting enough to be on TV as like a show plot line. So maybe I just made that up. All for cheap kitchen stuff. My $14 fry pan lasted longer than $200 one did. Yeah, I also don't have expensive I don't have expensive pots or pans, but I also don't feel like I need them. Like when we first moved in here, I totally agree. When we first moved in, we got a set of like medium, little pot, big pot, and they were non-stick, and they were probably $10 or $15 for the pair of them. And the idea was, well, we need something to cook with now, and eventually when these deteriorate in whatever way they're going to, at that point we can look into spending more on some nicer ones if we're in the place to do that. And then we just kind of never did. I've had those for 6 years or so, and they're still non-stick. Maybe non-stick technology has come a ways. Maybe that's happened, because I used to remember that non-stick like coating would flake off over time, and there was concerns about people eating it, and you'd have to replace non-stick items. But I don't know if I've ever had to do that. Maybe I just don't care if I'm eating it. Maybe that's my problem. One of those days where I don't feel like sitting in Discord. Nice to have your stream in the background while leveling my warrior. Happy to help. I always delighted to be background noise. A coconut opening tool? It's called a screwdriver. Yeah, I have yet to brutalize a coconut. I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's one day in my life I will, just be in the grocery store and just have a severe lapse of judgment and then just bring home a coconut and then, I don't know, film an Instagram video of just coconut violence. Depends on how you treat them and heat them. If you use them right, they last. I'm not that easy on my stuff though. I get like, I don't have metal tools. Maybe it's because of the equal cheapness of my tools. Like I use wooden spoons and wooden and plastic kitchen tools. And I know that like a metal spatula can chip off nonstick coating, but I'm pretty sure the stuff that maybe that's why is because I have like really cheap spoons and stuff. We only get 200 from a time walking quest. I mean, it's pretty exciting when you're wearing nothing. It's nice because there's no item level floor for it. There's no minimum. So when you're brand new and you're item level like 130, 40, 50, you can get the 158 stuff from the dungeons themselves, and then you can also get the 200 piece from the end, which is why I'm doing it. We are so far we have done, what, 2 of them? Yeah, this will be the 3rd one when we finish this. You want to time walk to farm a plate transmog. Trying to get an aesthetic paladin. I used to like doing, shoot, where was it from? I always liked the paladin sets that were kind of like purple and gold and cream. Kind of a very classic like Maraud Burning Crusade kind of look. And there's a couple sets like that. And I really wish I could tell you what raids they come from. Maybe somebody in chat can help you out with what I'm thinking of, or have a better idea. It also depends on what your personal taste is. So something that you could do is opening up your appearance collection, looking through the different raid sets. They'll be previewed on your character so you can decide which one you like the look of, and then it'll show you what raid that's from. You can also preview the different colorways of them. That may do you better, because that way you can apply your own taste to it. A pineapple core, but for coconuts. I did the coconut thing. I drank the water, then wondered what to do with it. Ended up eating it by dipping it in jam and munching. I'm really glad that that's happened. I kind of just enjoy the visual of just eating like a questionable amount of coconut because, like, well, you bought it and you have it and it's good with jam. Like, why not? Blackrock Foundry? Yeah, that sounds about right. When did you start? WoW was the first class you tried. At a friend's house, I played a hunter. I played a Draenei hunter at a friend's house when I was in high school, probably like 2008 or so. I think it was like winter 2008. I tried a Draenei hunter, and then I got the game for myself. I think probably spring of the next year, 2009-ish, and started playing as a hunter. I believe I started leveling a night elf hunter for a while, and then sometime in the first year I made a priest. And then I've kind of gone back and forth between priests, druids, and hunters ever since, although it's been quite a while since I've taken hunter seriously. I don't think I've mained a hunter since Cataclysm. Pretty sure Coconut Violence was a 90s grunge band from Seattle. It sounds like it. Tiered rewards for time walking, doing them and then not having a chance to get something useful. I mean, at that point, yeah, it would be something to have more reasons to do it later. I do think there is something to be said for having a point with a type of content where you can be done. It's not, there's so many different things to do in WoW lately that I kind of enjoy having some good solid excuses to not do some things. I like being able to look at my main and be like, well, they don't need to go do LFR. They don't need to do time walking. They don't need to do the weekly event. I don't need to do 5 time walking on my main because it's going to give a 200 piece and her gear is better than that, which just kind of gives me the freedom to do something else, like play an alt or like, you know, play an alt or PvP or whatever it is that you want to do. The trouble is if you don't want to do anything else. If you are a character, if you're somebody that plays a main, you play one character, that's all you play, and you want to be the very best at it, you're going to find yourself relegated to a much narrower scope of content fairly quickly, and that's a valid complaint. I can't directly empathize with it because I do tend to play alts, but I do understand that it can probably be very frustrating to get to a point where you're like, well, my upgrades are in 15s and raid, and maybe the weekly vault if I get lucky, and I think that's why you see people unsubbing and taking a break until next tier when they're just playing the one character, because unless they're into farming cosmetics, then they don't really need... Unless they're into farming cosmetics, then they don't really need to keep doing most things in game. That was a tough boss. No one takes Hunter seriously? That's not true. People main Hunter. Mark's Hunters were just slapping damage in PvE this tier. I already do that with the mod. I just can't be bothered. Yeah, for a while, I was trying to talk myself into at least doing Maw weeklies until I finish Venari rep, but I think I've given up until they give me a better reason to. Maybe BlizzCon line will come around and they'll talk to me all about, that's very kind of you. I think I got a 161 though. You know, Pathfinder or some reason, you know, there's this whole maw crafting thing. Maybe there will be a reason to keep up with it that we're not aware of yet. And then maybe I will begrudgingly go back and finish it off. I do have some of it done. Having to regrind. Oh, my problem was I switched mains. Regrinding everything made me burn out. Yeah, I can definitely see that. This is my third 60, and I think what's working for me is not, like my second 60, she's at a level 200, and I think that's about where I stopped. I don't think I'm really trying to get her caught up to my main, because she has enough gear for what it is that she's trying to do, and she'll get better gear when she's like ready for it. Same thing with this one. I think I'm going to try to get her to or close to 200, maybe even just like 190 to start, and then see how we're doing. Okay. I think if you just do the weekly, it's enough for Venari rep. Yeah, but like, what if I didn't do the weekly? What if I just never go? And you know, because at first it was like, well, I'll just do the weeklies. And then I would go to do the weeklies and I'd be like, well, Perdition Hold wants a group and the Beastborn's Hunt looks hard. And also like, I probably should take a group and I don't have a group. So maybe I just do the regular weeklies, like the soloable ones in the regular maw areas. And that turned into, what if I just don't go? Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I've been asking that question about a lot of things in life. What is the worst case scenario if I don't do this thing or get this thing or keep this thing? Like, it's a good you know, litmus test to run if you're trying to decide to keep something when you're decluttering, if you're trying to decide whether or not you should be spending your time in a certain way, whether or not something is worth your attention, you know, time, space in your home, whatever. What happens if you don't have it / do it? You know, what's the worst case scenario? If I don't go to the maw, I'm not going to have Venari rep. You use Venari rep for Torghast, and I'm done with Torghast. I have Twisting Corners 8 done, and I have my Legendary on my main. It does mean I'll have a slightly harder time in this alt because I won't have every permanent Torghast upgrade. I will only have most of them, but that's a livable consequence for me. And then I won't be able to buy sockets. And I probably wasn't going to grind those anyways. I would maybe like to grind one socket to put on my Legendary, maybe, assuming that my legendary can even take it, because not all slots are socket compatible in the first place. But aside from that, that's what's going to happen. If I don't go to the mall right now, I'm going to be missing out on sockets and on conduit upgrades to some extent, although my conduits are fine, which is another reason to write that off. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't seem like it's worth it. Tip for managing anxiety too. Did you do the Pathfinder? Trying to motivate myself to do it. Well, so there isn't a Pathfinder yet, for Shadowlands anyways. I have Pathfinder done for all of the previous expansions that offered it, but for Shadowlands, we don't quite know exactly how it's going to work, unless I've just missed it and it's in the game. But my understanding is that it'll be tied to Renown and then some amount of exploration. We don't really know what else. So we'll probably find out more about it this Friday with BlizzConline. We're probably going to get more information this weekend. You'll need Venaria up to attune to the final raid? Yeah, so eventually, when they pull that, then I'll have to go back. But I am willing to bet on the off chance that they don't do that and just, like, save my time to not go. Worst case scenario if I don't log into work today. Yeah, so that's a good example of one where maybe the worst case scenario is worth avoiding. Maybe you get, I mean, I don't know if you get fired for one day, but probably not a great precedent to set, assuming that it's a job that you like and that you want to keep and that you would want as a reference for a future job. So, you know, some things are worth it, and it's not like nothing's worth doing, but there's a lot of things that we spend time on because it's just kind of perceived that this is really valuable and that you have to do it and you have to keep up with it. Whereas when you let it go and you kind of drop it, the consequences aren't that dire. There's a lot of fear of missing out when you actually aren't really missing out on anything that's that important. And what's important to different people is going to vary. Everybody's got different values of what's important to them. So I don't really mind. I'm not on any social media for personal use. I have a Twitter account for this. I have a Twitter and I have an Instagram for YouTube, but I'm not like on Facebook with like my family or anything like that. And when I first deleted Facebook, I was like, well, what if I don't find out about events? I'm going to miss out on news. I'm not going to know when people like have their babies. And then I was like, well, okay. I won't know when people have their babies, and I won't know what people from my high school are up to. And I maybe won't get invited to a party. Although if they really wanted me to be there, they could call me. And also, honestly, like, who even remembers parties anymore? It's fine. Was not the end of the world. Did not. I mean, I'd say it didn't really kill my social life. I didn't have one to begin with, and I didn't grow one after the fact. But, like, I still call my mom. I don't need the cloak, because you get one from the campaign. Grinding rep at work. Fear of missing out is tied to seasonal mount farms. Not getting the Glad Mountain time is stressing me out. Yeah, I know. I go back and forth on those between being, well, it's just a cosmetic in a video game, it doesn't really matter, and then being like, oh, but wouldn't it be cool though? And it's tough for me to reconcile those things. So I don't know if I have a good answer on that. I feel you. It's hard. I think right now I might have to accept that I won't get this Glad Mount, not for lack of trying, but just because I'm not good enough, and that's just sometimes them's the breaks. All you can do is practice and try. Job never went work from home. Nothing changed for me. Love your streams and content. Hate this dungeon. This one's a little fiddlier than some of them. I would much rather do like Temple of the Jade Serpent or you know what? I might take this one over Shadowpan Monastery. Shadowpan Monastery is kind of annoying with like the trash skips and the trash skips and the trash. Mostly just the trash in Shadowpan Monastery. Those little dudes you have to purify. It's just kind of annoying. Not as straightforward, but I only need to do, oh no, 2 more after this. I was thinking I only need to do 1 more after this, but that's not how you count to 5. Hello, Hazel from Greece. Hello. Especially with the Season Glad Mount though. Yeah, it's a cool one. It's cool. There'll be more though. They do them in different colors. I'm sure that even if I one day get a Glad Mount and it's like 7 seasons from now and 2 expansions and whatever, and the new Glad Mount is a naked mole rat, I will still love it because it'll be my first Glad Mount. Even if it's a naked mole rat. Like, they could make the ugliest thing imaginable and I'd be like, but that's mine though. So and there's lots of cool Glad Mounts that have happened in the past. There's like Mop Challenge mode stuff I never got. There's lots of cool stuff in the game that I never got, and it doesn't torment me on a day-to-day basis because I know there was a reason I didn't get it. Either I didn't play that much back then or didn't care that much back then or whatever. But it doesn't torment me, you know, every day because it doesn't really matter. It's mostly just when you think you could get it, but you know you won't. That's when it really bugs you. So I just need to accept that it's not, it's a little in my control, but it's not as in my control as I would like to believe. You can make yourself Q, you can't make yourself good. I mean, you can make yourself good, but it takes a long time. Maybe it has to be your disc that gets the current glad match. She'd look cool on it. They're account-wide now, which is nice. If my priest got it, which would be kind of infuriating. If I start playing on my priest and it actually is as much easier as it is in my dreams, it's going to be a little upsetting because of how hard I've worked on druid, only for it to be like, well, but like, there's all these things you don't have to worry about. I'm sure I won't be instantly good. That's not how that works. But yeah, totally account-wide. That's mail. That's mail. You want a cloak? Here, I'll trade you. I'll vendor it. I will vendor that for you. Naked mole rats are pretty cool. I won't lie. As a DK, you can mind control the spirits you need to purify and cheese it. Oh, interesting. Have you been looking into Ashes of Creation? Just wondering. No, I don't have a terrible interest in it. Usually in order for a game to enter my radar, there has to be like a couple of different people in my personal circle that are like excited about it and talking about it for me to kind of perk up about it. And while there's people online talking about it, nobody that I like know and chat with regularly is all that interested. So it doesn't seem to be answering any questions that I have. Big regret is that I didn't get the nature moves from the end of WoD. Do you play Dis at all? Dis is very competitive. Yeah, that's why I made this priest. I have my main priest, which is a human, different character. She's Kyrian, and she's a holy priest for PvE, and she's never PvP'd. But I wanted to try Dis on PvP, because in PvP, I main Resto Druid, and I'm not very good. And Resto Druid's not very forgiving when you're not very good. Things go wrong very quickly when you're struggling. Whereas on Discipline, I'm not saying that it's easy if you're not good, but there's just less buttons. There's less decisions to make. So I figured it would be better for learning on, which is why I've made this character. She has a lot of setting up to do. She's a very fresh 60. Oh, speaking of Shadowpan Monastery, speak of the devil and you'll queue into it. Super excited for Ashes of Creation. Albion Online's exploding? I have not heard of that. Resto suffers and falling behind. Something that I haven't figured out. I probably need to look at logs or VoDs or something like that. I do record my games, so I do need to take a look at them again. I go so fast. I in games that are not that long, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not wild growthing. I'm not cyclone spamming as much as I was. At first, my instinct, as it has been in BFA and, Legion and WoD, was to do a lot of cycloning, and I stopped that because it was incredibly expensive, and I've started trying to only cyclone when it's going to be impactful and meaningful. And I think maybe part of it is so I've been taking Incarn and using Tree Form to try to cope with Burst, because that's usually like surviving the first go is usually a big part of it, and then in Tree Form, it's kind of a bunch of regrowth spam, and that's quite expensive, so that might be part of my problem. But I swear I was zooming before I even spec'd into Incarn. Regrowth kills you? Yeah. Purge spam is also very difficult for me to deal with. It's not that bad. I mean, no, it is. It is. I'm struggling a lot. I'll continue trying. I'm gonna play tonight some, I think. I just realized there's a puppy. That's my dog, Joker. I am so proud of him that he has stayed in that bed. He looks like he's thinking about leaving. He's got a variety of beds located around the home, but I told him to sit in that one, and he has so far stayed. He is a good dog. More haste. Try increasing crit. Yeah, I've been going Versa Mastery to the best of my ability on my Druid, because Mastery throughput and then Versa is just Versa. Mother of World of Warcraft, thank you. I I will accept this compliment. So for this one, we want to group up to disperse healing. I had a tank leave on this boss when I was leveling. I queued for a random mob dungeon, and after the phase, somebody died because we didn't notice that we had to stack, and then, or like we didn't kill the serpent, or somebody died in this fight, and then the tank just left. We finished the fight, but we did so tanklessly. So then you stack, and then it should pop. Serpent's almost down. Crazy to think the last snowy zone was Frostfire Ridge. Is that true? Frostfire Ridge was Draenor. Legion had High Mountain. I know High Mountain wasn't entirely snowy, but High Mountain had plenty of snow. And then and I guess there was also some snowy parts in the higher elevations of Stormheim. And then in BFA, you had huge parts of Drustvar were really snowy. So they haven't done like an entirely snowy zone. But I think they've just done a better job of making zones less monoclimate, you know, like having different weather at different elevations and having it be a little less of a harsh divide of you have gone from snow zone to sun zone and just like a flat, awkward line, you know. BFA had penguins. BFA did. BFA had sledding. That's true. Oh yeah, there was also some in Tiergard Sound. That's right. Favorite snowy zone. I mean, you get lots to pick up from in Northrend, but in Northrend, all of my favorite zones were the ones that weren't snowy. I liked Shalazar Basin and I liked Grizzly Hills, but mostly Shalazar. Dragonblight is nice questing, but I never quest there because it's so bright it hurts. I've often kind of gravitated towards more of the jungly zones. I wonder just because I've often lived in somewhat cold, slightly colder climates that I always just wanted to hang out in tropical areas in game. Yeah, nothing's coming to mind. Favorite expansions. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Cataclysm. It was I was at that golden point in my life where I had so much time and nothing better to do, and I was just at the right mental state to get real deep into an MMO. I was just graduating high school, like late high school when Cataclysm was happening, and I had all kinds of time to play. So and then of course it was like my first like full expansion that I was playing from the very beginning. I was so excited. And then Shadowlands has been very good as well. Yeah, I'm really excited for BlizzCon Live. I'm gonna have to watch it after the fact. I'm not gonna be home. I have an appointment that day. I'm gonna be out of the house. So I can't co-stream, which is probably fine. I think everybody and their grandmother will be co-streaming. I'm sure there will be no lack of streamers to watch it with if that's what you're looking for. But I'll have to watch it when I get back. Swedish, I feel the same. I love Skalazar because it's so different from my home environment. The other place I really like to spend time in is Stranglethorn. I always used to level through Northern Stranglethorn. Southern Stranglethorn would get just kind of annoying quest-wise, but Northern Stranglethorn, for Alliance anyways, I would always do the first couple of hubs worth of quests because it's just so sunny, and also I guess I tend to prefer zones that have, I prefer zones with Hemet Nessingwary quests because I just love a good straightforward kill quest, you know? Tell me to go take 15 tigers out and apparently I'm having a good day. It's just nice and straightforward. You find the tigers, you kill the tigers, you did it, good job. It's very satisfying to do quests that don't want you to do anything weird. The spawn rates are pretty good. It's just like, you know, go forth and decimate the local wildlife. What I liked about Ashes of Creations is one passionate guy funding it. There's no shareholders to make money for. Game designed for people who like games. If it's this time of year, I don't want to see more snow, being an Alaskan. Nessingware quest lines are always my favorite. When was the last one we had? He showed up in BFA, didn't he? I don't really remember. The ones I used to do were I would do the Outland, the Northrend. Yeah, the Stranglethorn, the Outland, and then the Northrend ones. I would always do those. He was in Zuldazar. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember doing those. Were they Horde? Was that it? High Mountain? Because his son started rocketing around doing stuff too. Okay. So this will be second to last one. I'm glad that I decided to do this on stream. I probably wouldn't have had the patience to do this otherwise. And also, Supermez cranking out the enhanced damage. Getting some lit chain harvest in there, so that's helping this go a lot faster. Jigglyfly Joe, thanks for the 15-month resub. Where is he in Shadowlands? Hopefully not dead. Fingers crossed. Oh, am I behind? I am behind. I'm coming, sorry. Yeah, hopefully not dead. Because that's my understanding, is that a lot of people, a lot of NPCs that are in the Shadowlands are here because they died. So, hopefully he's just living his happy life up top. You know, nothing to complain about, no problems, no troubles. Did Grifta die? There's a few characters that have, like maybe off screen, right? Like we see them down here and I think the assumption is that they died and we just didn't see when. But maybe there's some Mawwalking NPCs aside from maybe there's just some Mawwalking NPCs. I don't know. Maybe, like, I would not put it past Grifta to, like, secretly know something that nobody knows that he knows. Grifta came to Grift. Love for all the animals he killed to come for vengeance in Ardenweald. The, oh, I didn't, I've never had that happen before. I probably should have kited. Yeah, the Northrend version of the questline where you have the whole, the Dita situation, and you're collecting like the hunter ears where you play through it from like the other point of view was something. Although some of those quests were kind of annoying too, but they had good end of questline quests. That used to be something that I don't feel like you get as much anymore. It used to be very much the case that you would scary pull. You know, you would do a couple of different quest lines, and then at the end there would be like a quest line boss, and it would give like a slightly bigger piece of gear and like an elite mob to fight or something like that. Like sometimes there used to be group quests at the end of quest lines, and I don't know if we've seen as much of that. I don't have anything left with which to help. Oh, I can fear actually, and that might buy a second. I can dispel the dot. Haha, we've made it. It only took all of my cooldowns. I used Rapture, I used the Dome, and I used Pain Sub. But you know what? He's alive. Look at him go. This section is misery. It's not nice. Was that the time lost proto? Maybe. I am the luckiest woman alive. And somebody in stream, earlier in stream, Hef was just like, hey, Hazel, got a TLPD up. You want it? And I said, yeah. Be right there. Andy Plummy, thank you for the 3-month resub. What do you think of the Divine Hymn buffs? I will be real with you. I haven't seen them yet. What did they do? Sounds exciting. Divine Hymn's nice. I use it in, well, raids. I don't really use it much in dungeons, and I don't really use it much in, well, I don't PvP on my priest, but, yeah, I try to get it off in its entirety every raid. What are they doing with it? Yeah, I just got this today. I want to be a WoW Mom streamer too, so people whisper me about rare amounts. It is a job perk that I cannot deny. Did not expect. You should do it. Streaming's fun, and it doesn't have to be like a whole big deal of a big thing. It's not terribly tricky to get started hardware-wise, and then having a small stream is, oh, I had a small stream for a long time. 2014, 15, 16, I streamed to like, I mean, for the first few years I streamed to like 10 people or less, and for the first year I'm pretty sure it was 5 people or less. And then in like the third and the fourth years I was getting up to like 40 people or less. And it was a lot of fun. I made a lot of friends. I had some good times, had some good streams. I don't have a lot of VoDs anymore of a lot of them. It would be interesting for me to look back over like a really old Twitch VoD if I could find like a really old complete VoD. I would be curious to see if I've changed the way that I stream very much. Superman, you've angered the Shaw of Violence, and it's acted accordingly. I'm pretty sure you were tanking that. All right, I will fix this. I am a healer. I can do it. Do you play Hearthstone? I play a little bit of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and that is the only mode of Hearthstone that I play. I will log on for a game sometimes, especially if I'm just like at my desk and I'm eating or something like that. I will pop on a match of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, but I'm not very good, partially because I don't watch my combat phases. I just like shopping. I just like shopping for minions. So I will often not pay much, if any, attention to the combat phases, and I will just, you know, play rounds while like watching YouTube and eating. So it's not exactly the pinnacle of esports, but it's a nice thing to do with my hands. It's kind of like knitting, except that I don't make knit things. PTR changes. I see. I'll have to look through them. I think I messed up a mechanic. I don't really know. I don't know. Shaw of Violence had smashes the target. Shaw Spike. I don't know. I didn't see you standing in anything. Oh, we're going this way. And I think the boss was just kind of rampaging. Okay, I am going to try to click. Can I? No, I cannot. So we need to purify that one, but it's tough when they're AoEing. There we go. Good stuff. It heals all the party raid members. Increases target's healing taken. This is the change. I had a small stream and now I've got a brook possibly edging into a river. Have you considered fishing? Disorient in the tank. Okay, I see. That's probably what's going on. Healing's really cool in Shadowlands. Much more fun than in BFA. I wish I had a frame of reference. I DPS through BFA. I main Shadow Priest, and now I've switched to healing, so I have nothing to compare it to. I couldn't tell you if it's better or worse in my opinion. I can tell you that I like healing better than I liked DPSing by quite a lot. But I don't know how like the pace has changed. I can tell you how PvP healing is different. And that is that you, it's good for teaching you the art of Zen, of letting go and trying to not care and become just a more meditative, less reactive person. Because otherwise you will go insane. The PvP meta is very fast and very bursting and very frustrating to heal. So the best way to go about it is just to let go of your attachment to the outcome and just do your best, and then when people die you go, oops. Sorry. That looks like it hurt. Ouchie. I will not be co-streaming BlizzCon Line. I'm not home. I would if I was home. I'm getting tattooed that day. I'll be at the tattoo parlor having my sleeve work done. Yeah, there's not a lot of time to react to things, and I find that it makes mistakes very punishing. It used to be that you would make a mistake, you would get kicked, maybe you would get caught out of position, you would get stunned, and you could survive a small mistake. You could accidentally eat a kick, you could, you know, maybe like heal the wrong target once and then be like, oops. /I, nah. I don't need mana. Thanks for asking though. Heart. We must reinforce good tank etiquette in this house. It's hard to come by and it's greatly appreciated. Oh, my bar is pretty close to empty. Cabin Sight, thank you for the 3-month reset. A lot of angry pugs and they died, not understanding that it's not always my fault in PvP. Yeah, even if it is your fault, which I'm not saying that it was, often it's my fault. But even if it is your fault, you can't expect people to play perfectly unless you're queuing at 2500, in which case you're not pugging because you've already got your team at that point. And if you are 2500 and you don't have a team, then what happened to the people you pushed there with? having networking issues? I'm needing to do one more. I'm 4 of 5. I'd say I really hope I get a good item out of my chest, but as it happens, any item would be a good item out of my chest, I think. Yeah, let go of your attachment to being alive. An excellent point. Not let people flame you endlessly. I mean, I don't know how you stop people flaming you. You can stop reading it. You can tab out. I will sometimes utilize an add-on. I think I turned it off in PvP actually, so I could get people whispering for group invites and stuff. But I have an add-on that just, oh, oops, my bad. Filters whispers from people that I don't know, just to kind of quiet down the chat window some. Yeah, I've never been somebody to reply to emotional messages. Let me amend that. I've never been somebody to reply to any messages. I used to try, and if they were calm, I would try to answer, and then if they were emotional, I would try to talk them down. And I don't know when I stopped doing that, but it was a long time ago because I would just stress endlessly over what to say, and it wasn't usually about me anyways, and there wasn't always a right answer for what to say. So I just kind of gave up on responding altogether. I don't usually engage with somebody that's upset because I don't know how. I don't know how. I can barely talk to people that are not upset. Could stream the second day? Yeah, but like the first day is the news. The second day is panels and stuff, right? I'm probably, like I will be streaming on the Saturday morning. But I don't know if I'll be streaming BlizzCon Line stuff. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, most of what I would want to co-stream would probably be the news announcements. Just to kind of react to them in real time. I could still react to them in real time. I would just have to do it after the stream. After, like, watching the stream on a recording. I guess I could watch I could play the video on a late stream. No, I couldn't. I could play the video on Sunday. That would be very confusing to people. I'd be like, co-streaming BlizzCon Line, but yesterday's. I won't do that. That's too much. Warthog Killer, thank you for the brand new sub. It occurs to me that it's probably Warthog and not Warthog. Although, you know, in fantasy, you never know. Maybe there are Thogs, and maybe they are a warlike race. And they probably live in woven domes. I'm thinking, like, you take, like, a nice rattan basket that you might, like, keep your couch throw in, and then you make it really big and you turn it upside down, and you put it on a sandy hill, and that's where the Warthog lives. In between making war on neighboring tribes of Warthogs, they probably have a rich culinary tradition where they spice snakes and decorate them. They paint them too. I don't know where I'm going with this. Drop off in guildies playing WoW. I think there is generally seasonal players are taking their break. I think you'll have some people that are always playing WoW year round. I'm one of those people. Whenever there's no raiding for me to do or no dungeons, I will switch to farming or alt or PvP or whatever. But there's other people that, you know, they raid while the raid's new, and then when they're done, then they take a break and they come back next patch when the next raid comes out. Similarly for people that are getting their Mythic Plus season done, or lots of people are seasonal players, and they'll play for a few months when content is new, and then they'll take a break until more content comes out. And I think a lot of those seasonal players are taking their breaks right now, which I don't judge anybody for at all. Don't keep playing if you're just going to burn yourself out. Dark Melody, thank you for the brand new sub. Welcome to this Girl Squad. Using BlizzCon Line to keep me sane at work on Friday. As a Warthog, more like a dog or a bear. I was kind of imagining them like Quillbore almost. I think I'm just in my mind reconstructing Quillbore. Yeah. We're talking about culinary snakes? I don't know. I am losing it. That's a verifiable fact. 9.0.2 had mega content. Every patch starts to overstay its welcome. Something that I think is kind of interesting is it feels like no matter how much content they put into a patch, you still have roughly the same amount of time before people start to burn out and take breaks, even if they're not done with the content. Like, even with collectors, 8.2 was a patch that had so much stuff in it, and what I did, instead of playing extra long and sticking with it for an extra long amount of time, is I played for about the same amount of time that I normally do in a patch. I got like 2/3 to 3/4 of the stuff, and then I've just said to myself, well, I'll go back and finish it later. You know, I think that no matter how much content they put into a patch, there's still like an average amount of WoW tolerance built into most people for a given patch. So there's an argument to be made for spacing it out. Like, if they can make this amount of content, what if instead of doing patches every 4 months that are just loaded with stuff, what if they did patches every 2 months and have less of it? You run the risk of getting absolutely clowned on social media for putting out a patch that doesn't have enough stuff in it, because not everybody's going to be into everything. And the last thing that you want is another selfie patch situation. But I've often wished that in 8.2 they had split Mechagon and Najatar onto separate patches, because it just felt like a lot. What do you predict that the WoW, what's next at BlizzCon will be about? 9.1. Raid, possibly Zone, but I'm feeling more likely just Raid and big systems. Maybe an allied raid, that'd be kind of fun. Flying info for sure. Pathfinder stuff, I think. Or, well, I don't know about Pathfinder, but, you know. Flying, unlocking in Shadowlands info sounds likely. Heavy's taking a break. I no longer have my priest to help my poor hunter. It's like a normal Thog, but more heavily armored. I've not even started the Ember Court. I feel you. I'm like one fight into Path of Ascension. And it's not like, it's been around. There's been time. I can no longer say that I don't have time. My excuse of I'm busy has kind of worn thin. It's just, I think it's less about the time and more about a tolerance for a certain amount of WoW grinding. Even when there is more content to do and more rewards to be had from it. There's only so much WoW that I'm going to play in a month, I guess. Which is why I like it when I can get finished with things. I like this phase of the patch because as we wind down and we stop raiding, I suddenly have more energy. Even if I had the time, I have more energy to PvP. And as I get finished, like maybe I'm finished with the Anima Conductor. Maybe I have all the Anima Conductor loot on my main. Maybe now is a good time to start digging into Path of Ascension. I just kind of do it. Just break it up a little bit. I'm not in a hurry for the next patch. I know a lot of people are, and I know it'll be good for the game, and it'll probably be good for YouTube and Twitch views because more people tend to consume WoW content when they're playing WoW. So I can't complain about it, but I'm still quite far from done digesting the stuff that was added in 9.0. Okay. Who's running downstairs? Somebody fast. Shaman's on the case. I'm just gonna wait. Hoping for the removal of conduit energy? Is that something that impacts you guys? Are you finding yourself running out of conduit energy? I might be just very lazy, but what I've done is I've made myself a single setup and it stays there all the time. I don't even switch between different setups. At first, that's what I thought the move was. I figured I'm gonna have my world questing conduit, my world questing soulbind, and I'm gonna have my raiding soulbind, and I'm gonna have my dungeon soulbind, and I'm gonna switch between them, because you can switch your soulbinds. Not changing out your conduits, but you can switch your soulbind path. Just in a rested area the same way you would talents. And I don't do that at all. I have one. I have one setup. Ian say in an interview, new places, broker themed raid. Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, I've kind of started to lose track of the things that Ian has and hasn't said. In theory, I should have read all of the interviews, but I may have forgotten some stuff. Hair's pretty, thank you. Anyone who PvPs and raids weekly suffers or multi-spec. I see. You know what? What I'm doing is I'm leveling a second priest. It wasn't so much about different soul binds as it was wanting to be 2 covenants without having to swap them. But I do admit that it will also help me with the soulbind thing. I won't need to do PvP pre-soul binds and PvE pre-soul binds because I will have a second priest for that. Which it has not been the worst thing to set up. It's obviously a lot of work. It's a lot of busy work. But given the state of PvP gearing, I've seen worse. It's not quite Warlords levels of good, but it's not it doesn't feel undoable. For a couple of characters anyways. I don't know if I'm gonna have like 4 druids the way that I did in WoD. never use is Door of Shadows. I used it once today. I was in Torghast and I was skipping past like a block of traps. And that's it. That's the only time I've used it. It doesn't feel worth using just for transportation. And most of the time, like, I just walk places. Got 1800, got my spider, AOTC. Now I'm chilling, doing pet battles and collecting. Using leveling as a way to de-stress. Yeah, I'm curious about what the played time is going to be, roughly, for getting a character from being a fresh 60 to being completed their Covenant campaign and item level like 190 to 200-ish, which is what I would consider like a baseline level of ready for endgame, depending on what you're qualifying as endgame. Oh, I will fix that. I got you. Nice to be on a character that people don't immediately ask me to go heal high keys. Door used in PvP when you get your disorient. Yeah, bold move. Because then you've used your movement to get in. But yeah, the disorient's quite early. It is. I have it already. It's literally the second thing that you get with Nagia, which is nice. That's good. Totally doing that for my first 60. My priest. Soul shape is the best. Changed my mind. I don't know if I can. I don't have a Night Fae. It's the last. I have 3 60s and they're every Covenant but Night Fae. But the joy that my Night Fae friends seem to get from collecting different soul shape forms is something that I don't know is necessarily equaled in other. I don't know if that's equaled in other Covenants. I don't know if I have anything that I enjoy quite as much about being a Kyrian or a Necrolord as Night Fae players have looking forward to their Corgi form. Where do you start when it comes to pet battles? So, you will need some pets, and you want to start probably by doing the world quest for pet charms, because if you can scrape together 60 pet charms, you can get yourself an upgrade stone to level a pet to 25, and at that point you can start leveling more pets. If you've never done any pets yet, then you want to level some pets, and the best way to level pets is to have a couple of pets that are already leveled. I can just tank this, wow. So I have a video on it that was made in BFA, but still largely will apply to Shadowlands. The same concepts are true, that the world quest will scale down to your level and that you can buy upgrade stones from a vendor. So that is still how I recommend it. I am finished with time walking for the day. That was 5. I want to find out what kind of loot I got. It's a fun class. I like Priest. I'm biased. I like Priest a lot. We can be a Porgy. So Corgis are coming, but that's, I believe, a 9.0.5 thing. They've been data mined as a new soul shape form. So I need to go back to the Covenant Hall. I wish, it's probably a little too much to ask for. I kind of wish that you got, be kind of nice if you got some anima for doing time walking, but it's fine, it's all good. 158 hood, and then I have 2 rings. It's good. Okay, so I am item level 153. Caught up to 153. I don't have any more Sanctum stuff to do. I mean, I could research, but I'm kind of holding anima on this character because I may want to upgrade some of it. I may want to upgrade some of her Covenant gear once I start getting some of it with anima, and I think buildings are going to be like second. Time walking loot was a trinket for the only spec of my druid that I don't play. Oh no. Does the set not count for loot spec? He's looking to say hi to Supermeh for me, thanks. Supermeh isn't back in chat. Bad mechanics? Nah. We smashed those. Are you high enough to do LFR Denathrius? No, you need to be 170 for that, and I am 153. I'm not even high enough for Heroic Dungeons just yet, but I will be. I'm gonna turn in. I'm gonna get that quest done. So I want to make sure that I am loot spec discipline and also current spec discipline. Did you play Left 4 Dead? Have you seen Back 4 Blood? I have not played Left 4 Dead, and I have not seen Back 4 Blood. I'm sorry. Taking me about a week to get to 188. 25 are now my new monk. Okay. Yeah, I did it quite quickly on my druid, but I also got carried. I had an armor stack carry me through Mythic Zeros, and I want to try it more naturally this time. So this, hang on. I want to see what we got for doing the 5 time walkings. Some 200 mitts. That's a pretty good upgrade. That takes me to 155. So now I can do heroic dungeons anyways, if I wanted to. So curious to try if I thought I could bang it out in 20 minutes, I would do it, but I don't think I can bang it out in 20 minutes. I was gonna say Torghast 8, cause like I could do it. I could do it though. Yes, my item level's awful, but like, you know, I could do it. Spec of Priest is the most fun for you. I love Holy Priest very much. I am a Holy Priest main. Discipline's more of an experiment for me, I think. Deja character stats shows extra stats on my character's page. Also like the decimal points and stuff. It's very good. Okay. I kind of want to put a crown on. Ooh, or maybe the rose. Yeah. I have a very love is in the air transmog going on today. I'm wearing the lovely dress and then nice little rose, kind of Venthyr, you know. Great for stream. I don't want to get carried for this, just because I want to have some data on what it's like to do on your own, so that I can make recommendations to people that don't have people willing to carry them, or ready to carry them or handy, you know. So maybe for other characters, but for this one, I do want to try to. I know I just did a bunch of time walking groups, but you could just as easily queue for time walking random. It's harder to get a bunch of geared people to just bust you through Torghast. I'm sure it's possible, but on a fresh character, it might be a little tough to get that rolling. That's an Agi trinket. That's a BOE, so I could learn that. 58, 58, 58. Not too bad. So my renown currently at 7. I have unlocked the first wing of the questing campaign. I might go do a little bit of that with the rest of my time. I might go do a little bit of a Venthyr campaign. I haven't decided yet how much attention I'm gonna pay. On the first, when I was doing my Kyrian campaign and my priest, I had like, you know, sound on, dialogue on, reading quest text, the whole 9 yards, and then I kind of didn't do that as much for the Necrolord one, and while I'm sure I missed out on some really cool story moments, it also went a lot faster. Race class spec combo seems the least appealing to you, but then somebody probably plays it, and then I don't want to hurt their feelings. I'm not much of a melee player, so through no fault of melee, I tend to rank them lower just personally because I like being enranged. And then melees that do spells as well as physical damage confuse me because of their lack of a specific, like I wish that like they're trying to do a lot of things and I want them to pick a lane. So like Death Knights don't usually rank super high for me, or Ret Paladins as well. You've got like magic but also melee, and I don't know about all that. For no good reason, right? Like it's just totally arbitrary. My weapons clash with the outfit. Yeah, I haven't mogged them, but I don't want to mog them because it's expensive and they're temporary. Like when I get higher item level weapons, I will probably pick out a nice mog for them, but for now, I don't want to spend any gold on mogging the 150s. Shout out for the Rockstar heals. Thank you. I'm offended. I'm offended now. Red Paladin for life. If you were going to try to anger the most WoW players at once, I'm pretty sure dunking on Ret Paladins would be a pretty fast route to it. Maybe even Blood Elf Ret Paladins, because I remember at one point in my life when I was covering class changes, back when I thought I could do that, I would make videos on like class changes for like every spec. I think it was Warlords. Every patch. It was like way too much. It was a bad idea. And then I was like, well, I don't have time for all of this. So which ones do the most people play? And I would go on to like WoW stats or whatever, websites that showed how many people are actively playing different specs and different classes. Paladins are consistently one of the most represented, most played classes in the game. Paladins are almost always really far up there. Hunters are up there as well, but Paladins are one of the most popular classes in the game, if not the most on average. So I would prioritize making sure I was getting the rep video out, because there's just a lot of rep paladins out there. Kitty cat, what's up? You need to turn over? You leaving? You want to sit somewhere else? So I am here to revive Shelra and drive enemies out of the Darkwall Tower. And then I'm also here to place some banners to get some the Court of Harvesters on board with the plan. It can be tough sometimes, especially when you're a ways through your campaign, or when you've cleared Castle Nathra in your main, but then you go back and you do the earlier stages of the campaign. You're like, wait a minute, we've done this already. Or like in the Kyrian campaign, they have a step like halfway through where there's like a big reveal about oh, what's her name? The last boss of Spires of Ascension, who, if you queued Spires of Ascension at level 60, then you knew that one already. Devos, yeah. There's like a whole big reveal about Devos that feels very silly when you've already done like 10 different Spires keys by then. You're like, I know. I've seen. I should probably switch back to Shadow if I want to do any damage for this. Pink hair for humans would make me happy. I would not switch back. If it was like a nice pink, if it was like, I don't know if I would do neon pink, but even then maybe. That is Time Lost Proto Drake. I got it today, like an hour and a half ago, and I couldn't say I've spent that much time farming. I put some time in like 2012, well before I started doing any content creation. I used to camp it in my bedroom. I was renting a room in my mom's apartment after graduating, but before I got my job, and I would leave the computer on with rare scanner or NPC scanner or something turned up real loud with the intent that when the rare spawned, it would make a big noise, and I would go check and then get them out. I never got it that way, but I used to camp it for ages back then. Okay, so the next one's over here. Revive Stone Gal. I don't see anybody. If I see a Stone Gal that I can revive, I shall do so. Oh, the quest. Okay. I understand. I shall do so. She slaps? Okay. Prince Guard Commander. If I was to switch my main to Horde, I would be an undead. I would probably take like a quick second to look through ideal Holy Priest racials for Horde, but I would probably be undead anyways. Racials are not as big of a deal as Covenant is, and I've managed to squeak by with a subpar Covenant, so I'm pretty sure I can get away with being whatever I want to be, and I do love me an undead female caster in robes, in cloth. Pretty good stuff, especially now that you've got some boneless options. Some less bony options available. Okay, one more somewhere. Assuming, oh, there it is. Boneless, yeah, versus bony increase. Yeah. Although, I mean, you've got lots of good options. I like troll shadow priests, but I like undead shadow priests. Blood elves are nice, but blood elves were so wildly popular that when I was playing Horde, and I was of an age where it was important to me to be a contrarian, I suppose. I was valuing things just because they weren't popular. So I avoided blood elves because everybody else liked them so much. And also because it wasn't super my style. I didn't like the laugh. They were the blood elf laugh was not my favorite sound. And it just felt like they were always giggling about something. I always love the thought of an undead priest of any kind. They're, yeah, if I went Horde, I would play undead. I used to have a goblin priest. Underrated. Goblin casters, underrated. AOTC, Keystone Master, and 1800 done. Next up, Gladiator. Your streams got me through the grind. You are making short work of it. Undead shaman with bone totems. I don't know how they would justify that lore-wise, but I don't care. I don't think they need to. I think that some of their justifications for race-class combos are so silly that Are we really trying anymore? Does it really matter? Bone totem sounds really cool. I think that once we had goblin shamans and we made the whole logic about how the elements are not morally judgmental, they're just transactionally judgmental, that kind of threw out any justification for anybody not being a shaman, because anybody can haggle. Once goblins could do it, I feel like anybody can get by. Dreaming about Nightborn druids. I didn't play a male bell for the longest time because I couldn't stand their run cycle. I don't know what you mean, but I know somebody that knows what you mean. I've heard of somebody else with that exact complaint about them. And whenever I looked at them, they seemed fine. But I've heard that from other places as well, so I know it's not just you. I imagine Goblin Priests to be like mega church leaders. That is actually quite funny. Do you think that classes should be race-bound? I want to play an undead druid. I think that at this point we have relaxed the class race restrictions so much that they're not really that meaningful anymore. I think at one point there was something kind of cool about them being more limited, and it helped make more of an identity for the combinations that were available because there weren't that many of them. But now, you know, you have classes like priests and warriors that can be basically anything. The only ones that are super limited anymore are shamans and druids, and even then, I feel like you could just kind of open it up. It would be a lot of art to get druid forms and shaman totems for the races that don't currently have them, but I think that it would be, I think it would be worth it. I don't think that you'd be losing anything that hasn't really been already lost. So, thank you for the 17-month resub. Glad I caught the end of the stream. Glad to have you here. I think my rarest class race combo is a female dwarf warlock. Femme dwarfs are hard to find. I have two of them, and they're both monks. And I don't know why everybody doesn't play them. They make great monks. They look awesome. My Dark Iron Dwarf female monk is one of the coolest alts that I never play. I've never been able to like properly get into monk. I've tried maining monk tank. I've tried having monk be like my tank alt. I've tried Mistweaver as well because I liked a lot of the themes. I liked the colors. I liked the dragons and the tea and like all the visuals that went along with it, and I wanted a healer, so I was like, I could be a Mistweaver monk, and it's just not Holy Priest. I never really know if I'm going quite the right way for these things. I always assume that I should ride there at the highest elevation possible, and then if I get there and I'm too high up, I can always jump off something and levitate, but I can't always find an elevator. I have a Lady Dwarf Warrior, and I love her. I remember you leveling her. She was rad. I was so convinced. That was like the, not my most recent I'm gonna be a healer phase, but the one before that. I was so convinced that Mistweaver Monk was gonna be my thing. I still to this day can't really explain why it's not. The only thing that I really like about Holy Priest is the nostalgia of it being one of the first healer that I ever tried to main, and then it's just kind of like glittery and simple and straightforward and to the point. I appreciate the simplicity of having a healer that just has a spell called heal. And that's more valuable to me than my favorite color, I guess. Ooh, I almost did not make that. Now I'm just riding my my corridor creeper around. This thing is so noisy. I can't complain because I am glad I have it. I was doing the first chapter of the campaign of the Maw, which is why I had that keybound, but... love for allied races. Dark Iron Dwarf is an allied race. Volpera are disgustingly cute, but they also all kind of look very similar to me. I have the same problem with Volpera that I have with all my Cultiran characters also end up looking kind of the same. With some characters, some races, they have options that make them unique enough that I could make like 3 or 4 or 5 different night elves or trolls or orcs and feel like I've come up with very different identities for them, whereas with some things like Cultirans and then hey, no, leave me alone. I don't want it. This doesn't seem like what I should be doing. Draven, are you gonna do that? You gonna take care of that for me? Excuse me, you're a raid boss level NPC. Fix it. You fight him. I guess I have the damage for this. Is the corridor creeper mount time limited? Don't think so. I don't think so. We don't have any reason to believe that just yet. Yeah. Non-binary options would be wonderful. I would be a little worried, not necessarily to the point of not doing them, but I would be worried about the potential for misuse with them, where people make them in a way that is not in good faith. But you're gonna get that with anything in WoW, so I don't think that's a good excuse to not go for it. Poor Nightborne, no options whatsoever when creating them. They don't have a ton of options. The options they have are really pretty. I've often heard people talking about Nightborne and resenting that you can't make them look quite like the NPCs. And I'm sure you're right, but I don't see it. The Nightborne that I've made always feel very much like NPCs. Now that Superman's in chat, we can bloop bloop all day, all night. Sometimes when I'm at my desk and it's been like a couple hours since stream and I'm just like closing down windows and I take down the stream bot, I'm like, but what if somebody needs their bloop bloop? And like Nightborne recently, just so I could make a priest because I didn't like the other horde models. Celicia looked younger than the other female Nightborne. I'd have to look at them again. I do have a Nightborne. She's a arcane mage, and she wears the Nightborne covenant armor, heritage armor. Wow, words. She wears the heritage armor. Oh, this looks scary. Draven, can you do something? Okay, they won't fight me. I'm not comfortable. This makes me itchy in my esophagus. Did he purposely make chatbot pull an all-nighter? No, I don't. Honestly, I don't pay that much attention to it. Sometimes I restart my computer and sometimes I don't. And sometimes I shut it down just arbitrarily and sometimes I don't. Doesn't really mean anything. Nightborne is a Jedi arms warrior, 2 lightsabers. I probably should turn up the dialogue. I can't really hear what they're saying. Am I allowed to leave yet? Maybe I should wait. Give it a second. What's the achievement that you need for Nightborne? Am I gonna remember Nightborne? No. You have to do the Suramar Insurrection. That's right, that's what it was. Just leave it on. Yeah, it's just a piece of desktop software, and it doesn't take up a ton of resources, but if I'm like closing other windows and I notice that it's open and I'm not using it, I'll close it. But if I've just kind of like gone AFK, I only really turn my computer off at night, and sometimes I miss out on it. Speak with Renethal at the tower. So invitation for the Tithe Lord, Countess. Okay, so I have a Halls of Atonement quest, but I think that was just one I picked up. I think I can hearth out of here now. I am looking forward to getting the Venthyr Hearthstone. That'll be cool. Shania Twain, back with a 4-month resub. Thank you very much. The dialogue's super low. I didn't have it turned up very much, and I also don't have my game sound turned up very much either. And do you think the new leveling system disadvantages new players that try to catch up with the lore, making them reach level cap faster? I don't think it's a disadvantage. I think that you are better off encouraging players that want to finish the lore questing to go back and do so after they're finished leveling than to force everybody to level slower so that you see the entire story before you're finished leveling. Because there's so much story just by virtue of how many expansions the game has had that it's unreasonable to expect a new character to see all of it. And if you want the option to see it, you can go back and do it. You can continue questing once you're finished leveling. If you go into your little spyglass here, you can track trivial quests. This little tick box right here will show you low-level quests on your map, and you can keep doing it. They just, they're going to give you gold, and you can vendor the gear as opposed to wearing it. And I think that's the lesser of two evils in that situation. Majiko, thank you for the 2-month resub. Spice Girls play Priest. Yeah, no, I usually keep in-game sound very low if I remember to turn it on at all. It's kind of an awkwardly acapella stream, but it's been like that long enough that it seems fine. On the bright side, I did not really suffer too much when the DMCA changes came in because I wasn't playing music before, and I've just kind of gotten used to the sound of my own voice. It was the first thing I did in my first max level toon, Lore Master. Even in Shadowlands, the main quest gets you through to max level. Yeah. So it is just about 5 o'clock, and I'm not in that great of a hurry, I suppose, if I don't have raid tonight. But I think I might do a little PvP instead. I would like to thank you guys very much for joining me today. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. Maybe more Venthyr Covenant campaign. Maybe I turn dialogue sound up tomorrow so I can hear what's going on and do some more Venthyr questing, because I'm gonna have a lot of that to get through. Or maybe like some dungeons. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.